Welcome to Shanmugam IAS Academy. Today's topic is generally dealing with UPSC mains GS paper 3, which are issues related to direct and indirect farm subsidies and minimum support prices and food security, which comes under the GS paper 3, and it is also be useful for the prelims point of view also. So what exactly the topic is today is that is an MSP scheme, that is minimum support price scheme, to transform Indian agriculture. This is what the topic today. So I have told you where exactly comes in the syllabus. So what exactly is the context that we'll study here? So what happened? The massive solidarity that is which is seen in the recent farmers movement. We all know that Delhi, the farmer movements have been happened in the Sangrur border. A struggle to transform the Indian agriculture. So what is the core demands? One of the core demands of the movement was regarding the minimum support price regime. So where here farmers demanded the legal backing for it. So this is what the major core demands of the farmer movement is, the minimum support price. So the laws and what exactly is that I have told you in one of my video, so you can go and see there. So what purpose does this MSP serve? What exactly this purpose is MSP serve? Before going into this, we need to know what is this MSP exactly and who fixes MSP on whose recommendation. So these are all important in prelims point of view. So MSP, the minimum support price on any agricultural crop, is fixed on the recommendation of the Commission for the Agricultural Costs and Prices, that is shortly CACP, and that is an apex advisory body for pricing policy under the Ministry of Agriculture. This we need to know because prelims questions they can ask from these bodies. So main recommending authority is the Commission for Agricultural Cost and Prices, CACP, and this is an advisory body to the pricing policy under the Ministry of Agriculture. So this is one thing. And another point is MSP. How many crops does MSP is covering? Because under MSP we have 23 crops, that is majorly the paddy, wheat, maize, sorghum, millet, barley, and that is barley, ragi, gram, moong, groundnut, etc. So many crops, majorly 23 crops, which are under the MSP. So now we will see what the purpose does MSP serve. To the purpose that is the MSP could serve is this in the principle of three purposes. What are they exactly? These can also be asked in prelims. So if and it is also been useful for writing in the mains too. So the price stabilization. The first principle is the price stabilization in the food grains market. Second one is income support to the farmers. Third one, a mechanism for coping with the indebtedness of the farmers. That is the loans, the indebtedness, everything is the mechanism has to be very perfect. And another thing is how the price stabilization policy evolved over the years. How this price stabilization is happening. The first principle of the MSP is that now we are going to see that is under that the price stabilization policy for food grains in India evolved over the time. For the first Essential Commodities Act, this Commodities Act is in 1955, that is to counter prices rise due to speculative private trading, and then MSP in the 1960s. So first we have Essential Commodities Act, that is in 1955. After that the private trade in the that is prices rise due to the private trading, and then we brought this MSP in the 1960s. This is brief history we need to know. And second one, the buffer stock policy with the public storage of food grains for market intervention was also developed, that entailed the storing the procured surplus for sale through the public distribution system, that is at issue price, and market intervention to stabilize price when deemed necessary. So this is also happened. The buffer stock policy, the public storage of food grains for the and everything has happened. The storing the procured surplus for the sale through the public distribution system. And third one, the task is required interlinking procurement, storage, and distribution with more centralized investment and control of each of these tasks. And centralized investments is also very important. These induced farmers to shift to a high yielding varieties cropping pattern during the green revolution while ensuring food security to the citizens of the country. So what has been the consequences of the above policies? So these are all the policies which are there in the country before 1955, after that also. Now, so what are the consequences? The policies which I have mentioned above. So the first one is the procurement and the public distribution system from the green revolution period provided assured price incentives for the rice and wheat, but left out some 20 crops now under discussion for MSP, including the millets, the coarse cereals, pulses, and the oil seeds. In the starting of the class, I have told you there are 23 crops which are under the MSP. So here what they are saying, the incentives for the rice and wheat are there, but left out some 20 crops now under discussion for the MSP, including these millets, coarse cereals, pulses, and the oilseeds. This is one consequences. Second one is, as a result, this partial MSP coverage skewed the cropping patterns which are against the several coarse grains and millets, particularly in rain-fed areas. So what exactly these cereals are? So they are nothing but the jowar, the ragi, bajra. These are all the coarse grain, the cereals things. And the result of this partial MSP that I have already told you, the cropping pattern against the several coarse grains and millets, particularly in rain-fed areas, has been dropped because of they don't have particular MSP for them. So the production has been dropped, and from the time of the green revolution till recently, the area under cultivation of rice has been increased from 30 million hectares to 44 million hectares. So after green revolution, the production, the cultivation of rice has been increased from 30 to 44 million hectares, and at the same time wheat has also been increased from 9 million hectares to 31 million hectares. It's a huge development. But what is the negative factor here is, however, area under the cultivation of coarse cereals decreased from 37 million hectares to 25 million hectares. So this is a drawback. So this is what happened. The cultivation of coarse cereals has been decreased over the years. So as a result, these left out crops which are grown mostly in the rain-fed conditions were not made available in the ration shops. So which impacted the nutritional security of the people. So these crops which have been left out, they are not been available in the ration shops. So these have impact on the nutritional security of the people too. And almost 68% of the Indian agriculture is rain-fed, and the crops grown in these regions are usually more drought resistant, nutritious, and staple in the diet of the poor subsistence farmers. So such a regime also posed a huge physical burden on government, as the total economic cost involving the subsidy for selling below market price would be around 3 lakh crore. So this is the economical burden, the economical cost which was involving the subsidies is 3 lakh crore. And what are the measures needs to be taken to reform this MSP? The wider MSP, that is greater coverage for all the 23 crops which are already there under the MSP, these 23 crops, and is a way of improving both food security and also income support to the poorest farmers in the rain-fed regions. So widening the MSP is the first measure which has to be taken to improve the food security and also the income support to the poor farmers. And second one is the price band. What is price band is exactly each crop within a band of maximum and a minimum price depending upon the harvest conditions. That is actually the maximum and the minimum price which has to be depend upon the harvest condition. That is how the higher price in the bad condition, bad harvest, and the lower price in a good harvest year in general will have its price set in the band. And third one is the price of some selected coarse grains can be fixed at the upper end of its band to encourage their production in rain-fed areas. So the price has to be fixed for coarse grains too, because to encourage the farmers for the production in the rain-fed areas, because the production of coarse grains has been dropped from 35 million to 25 million hectares. So another measure which you have to take is the bank credit. The bank credit, that is a real breakthrough, that is recurring problem for agricultural debt, and can be made by the linking of selling of grains under the MSP to provision of bank credit, particularly for small farmers. So bank credit also plays a huge role, and the farmers can get a certificate of selling grains at MSP, which would be credit points proportional to the amount sold, and this can entitle them to a bank loan. So another point here is the farmers will be given a certificate of selling grains under the MSP, which will gain them a credit points to get a loan from a bank. So this is also a good factor and good measure which has to be taken. And another thing is that decentralizing the implementing agencies. That is, MSP scheme could be implemented effectively upon decentralizing the implementing agencies under the constitutionally mandated supervision of panchayats. So this is a good measure which has to be taken. And apart from this, what will be the additional cost for the government? So in case of widened MSP, so now we have discussed about the measures which has to be taken. If these measures are taken, what is the burden on the government? This also we need to follow, because the additional cost factor which is taken by the government by widening this MSP, what will happen to the government also we need to include in this. So of the total grains which are produced, some 45 to 50% of the farmers, the self consumption and the rest is market surplus. And the second one is the market surplus set the upper bound of total procurement cost from which must be deducted the net revenue which was recovered under the PDS, that is public distribution system. And if all these crops are sold through the ration shops, preliminary estimate puts it in the range of 5 lakh crore. So if these all the things will happen, so the estimate is ranging between 5 lakh crores. So this is not a big amount which is considering that it is of the same order of magnitude as that is to the public sector employees, that is DA, and less than 5% of the population. So and the additional amount can be tapped from the income foregone announced in the budget for handful of industrial houses, that is 3 lakh crore. And that is increasing the expenditure on the minimum supportive price will benefit more than half of the population directly, and another 20 to 25% of the population indirectly in the unorganized sector, that is over 70% of the Indian citizens. The count here is, so the increased expenditure has to be done on MSPs. It will not only benefit the farmers, but also indirectly it is helping it out in the unorganized sector, which are 70% of India's citizens. So this is some important topic for mains and prelims too, that is MSP thing. So if you have any doubts in this topic, and just tell us in the comment section. Thank you so much for watching this video. Thank you.